You type out a simple two-letter word, no. You look at the screen, but for some reason your thumb just hovers over the send button. You are physically incapable of delivering that short answer. Instead, you delete it. You start typing again, and within seconds you are drafting a massive, highly detailed paragraph. You break down your fatigue, map out your entire work schedule, and throw in 3 different apologies to justify a basic boundary. Observers might assume this behavior stems from insecurity or a habit of being overly defensive. It is easy to mistake this level of detail for a lack of confidence. Psychology reveals a much different picture. That intense, undeniable urge to over-explain is an incredibly advanced, though utterly exhausting, survival algorithm firing in real time. Chronic over-explaining is a side effect of incredible cognitive depth. If we slow down and dissect the exact fraction of a second before you hit send, we can see why your highly active mind believes extreme clarity is the only way to stay safe. In the very first microsecond after someone asks you a question, a highly intelligent brain initiates a habit known as predictive processing. Your brain simulates how the listener could misinterpret your words, fracturing outward into dozens of variables. When this complex reality is stripped of nuance and reduced to a short sentence, it feels physically uncomfortable, registering as a lie of omission to an analytical mind. You try to prevent these simulations from becoming reality by filling in every single logic gap before the other person can even speak. This treats a casual text message like a high-stakes legal deposition. This intensive mental simulation forces you to drag the listener through the entire blueprint of your own mind. You provide a mountain of evidence just to make sure your actual intention lands exactly where you planned. These complex simulations serve a specific purpose. They are the sophisticated armor for a trauma response tied to childhood emotional invalidation. The brain runs these logic checks because historically, logic was the only weapon that kept you safe. If you grew up where your reality was routinely questioned, or where you were only believed if you had undeniable proof, your nervous system learned that your baseline word was never enough to guarantee psychological safety. This environment forced your inner child to become a lifelong defense attorney. You learned to build an impenetrable fortress of logic around your boundaries, operating under the assumption that without a flawless argument, you would be punished or rejected. Right before you deliver the verbal output, a final layer of processing kicks in: hyperempathy. You actively absorb the other person's potential disappointment in advance. Because the idea of making someone feel abandoned is so taxing, you deploy excessive detail as a verbal cushion to soften the blow of your no. Your mind is working overtime to carry the emotional weight of both sides of the conversation. You are protecting the other person's feelings at the absolute expense of your own mental energy. We tend to think that providing more reasons makes a boundary stronger. We assume that if we explain ourselves perfectly, the other person will have no choice but to respect us. Behavioral psychology shows us the exact opposite. Every detailed reason you give subconsciously signals that your decision is up for debate. You take a firm boundary and open a gap. Telling someone you can't attend because you're tired hands them ammunition. By offering justifications, you invite them to negotiate with your peace. Reclaiming your authority doesn't require a shift toward being cold, arrogant, or dismissive. It is the simple act of recognizing that you are an adult who is no longer trapped in a past environment. You no longer have to prove your worth through extreme contexts. When someone asks for a favor you cannot do, practice stating a simple boundary. Say, "I won't be able to make that work," and then physically stop yourself from speaking. Let the ensuing silence do the heavy lifting. Your deep, hyper-empathetic mind values clarity, but people are allowed to be disappointed. Your baseline word is enough, and your no is a complete sentence.